The wind howled like a warning the moment the helicopter vanished into the blinding white sky, leaving me and my strict boss alone on a frozen mountain ledge with night falling fast and no guarantee anyone would come back for us. And in that terrifying silence I realized this wasn't just about surviving the cold, it was about surviving everything we had never said to each other. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the idea that even the coldest situations can warm a human heart, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope today, subscribe to the channel, and tell us in the comments where you're watching from, because stories like this connect us across the world. My name is Daniel Moore, and until that day, I thought I understood my boss, Victoria Hale, perfectly. She was known throughout the company as unbreakable, a woman whose standards froze entire meeting rooms and whose silence could make grown executives sweat. I was her assistant, the invisible shadow who carried files, fixed mistakes, and swallowed pride for a paycheck. The trip to inspect a remote research facility was supposed to be routine, a quick flight up and back before the storm hit. Instead, the storm arrived early, swallowing the mountain in snow and wind, forcing an emergency landing near an old lodge that hadn't been used in years. By the time we reached it, my fingers were numb, my lungs burned, and fear sat heavy in my chest. Inside, the lodge was barely standing, wooden walls groaning under the pressure of the storm, the power long gone, and only one small bedroom untouched by collapse. The cold was merciless, creeping into bones and thoughts alike, and survival became our only priority. We layered clothes, blocked cracks with torn curtains, and rationed the few supplies we found. The bed in that single room was small and old, more symbolic of shelter than comfort, and the reality settled in that warmth was not a luxury but a necessity. Stripped of her office authority and tailored suits, Victoria looked different in the dim lantern light, her face pale from the cold, her eyes reflecting fear she never allowed anyone to see. For the first time, she wasn't issuing commands, and I wasn't silently resenting them. We were just two people trapped by circumstance, listening to the mountain roar outside as the temperature dropped and the night stretched endlessly. Hours passed slowly, marked by the sound of wind and the creaking of the lodge. Sleep was impossible, and memories filled the silence. I thought about the countless times I'd felt small under her expectations, how every mistake felt like a personal failure. At the same time, I began noticing things I had ignored before, like how she checked the door repeatedly, how she rubbed her hands together not just from cold but anxiety, how the weight of responsibility seemed heavier than the snow outside. In that confined space, barriers dissolved. The cold forced closeness, but it was the shared vulnerability that truly brought warmth. I realized that her strictness wasn't cruelty but armor, built over years of being the only woman in rooms that expected her to fail. As the storm raged on, exhaustion softened everything. Fear turned into quiet reflection, and resentment faded into understanding. I thought about my own life, how I'd accepted being overlooked, believing it was safer to stay silent than risk rejection. That night, trapped on the mountain, I understood that both of us were prisoners in different ways, shaped by choices made to survive past winters of our own. The warmth we created wasn't just physical, it was emotional, a silent agreement that neither of us had to be alone in that moment. Outside, the storm slowly began to lose its fury, as if the mountain itself was giving us a chance to breathe. Morning arrived quietly, sunlight breaking through snow-covered windows like a promise. Rescue came hours later, but something had already changed long before we heard the distant hum of engines. Back in the real world, the office felt different. Victoria was still demanding, still sharp, but there was a new humanity in her eyes. I was still her assistant, but I carried myself differently, no longer invisible, no longer afraid to be seen. Weeks later, she offered me a promotion, not as a favor, but as recognition. That mountain didn't just test our ability to survive the cold, it melted walls built over years, proving that understanding can be born in the harshest places. Before this story ends, please leave a comment sharing what this moment meant to you, because your words matter more than you think. And if this story touched your heart, if it reminded you that even the coldest nights can lead to warmer mornings, please like, comment, and share this video with someone who needs hope today, because sometimes a story is the hand that reaches out when the world feels frozen.